Alright, so there's two kind of key important things that I also wanted to make sure that we cover in these tutorial videos. The first thing I want to point out is that the player listings, anywhere where you see a player name, in order for you to be able to do that Control W to pull them over to the drafted players table, I had to leave those cells unprotected. The downside of this is you could accidentally delete into a cell. If that happens, press Control Z and it's going to pull the contents of that cell back in. And so if you accidentally hit a letter, make sure you hit escape if that happens, or if you type in something wrong and hit enter, press Control Z. Because the thing is, this is a formula. It's telling Excel to pull an intersection of a number of different data points, so you couldn't just type the player's name back in or what have you. So please make sure that you're paying attention to that. And all you really should be doing is pressing Control W. But again, if you accidentally hit like backspace in a player's name or something, hit escape. Or if you've hit backspace and then enter, or you've entered, like an erroneous letter in, just press Control Z and you'll be good. But you're going to want to make sure that you're cognizant of that, because if I were to go and do that and then I enter a player's name in, unfortunately you can no longer go back from that point. So please make sure that you don't do that and you do not type over these names anywhere. And this is one of those reasons too why you want to make sure that you're continually saving as you go along. So if you do that, make that mistake, you can go back and remedy it by just opening up the file again. The other thing I want to talk about too is when you first open the spreadsheet, hold on a second. When you first open the spreadsheet, there's a thing in Excel called data connections, and those are going to refresh, and that is going to automatically pull in any updates we would have made to tiers, and it's also going to pull in updates for ADP, which should be occurring on like a weekly basis. So under normal circumstances, if I hit refresh all here, it's going to show you what would normally happen when you open the file. It's going to run this background query, which is going to pull in those updates off of our server on our website. So if we wait a second, you'll see that those will finish after that happens. So every time you open the file, you're just going to want to go back and you're going to want to go selected ADP smallest to largest, and you're going to want to go to tiers smallest to largest, and that will ensure that you have the correct sequencing up in the available players listing. Obviously you will have corrected for this little issue here that we were just doing for the example. So key takeaway, every time you open the file, that web query is going to happen. It's going to pull in your most up-to-date information. You're just going to make sure that you go to player info, you sort selected ADP smallest to largest, and you sort this tier column smallest to largest. And finally, I also wanted to point out, as I've mentioned in another video, you do not need an internet connection for this to work. The only thing I want to point out is if you were to have, no internet connection where you are, when you open up the file, this is going to happen. So yeah, this will pop up. It's not a big deal. It's basically just telling Excel that there's no internet connection to pull this. So you just hit OK, and you hit OK again. And you'll have the most up-to-date information from the last time you would have opened the file with an internet connection. So that's no big deal. So key takeaways from the video: every time you open the file, please make sure that you sort on the player info tab ADP smallest to largest, sort the leftmost tier column smallest to largest. And if you don't have an internet connection, you'll just hit OK when those error messages pop up. And finally, make sure that you don't type over player names in here. If you do it, make sure that you hit Control Z right after you do that, and you'll make that correction. So, if you put something wrong in there, just do Control Z, and you'll be all set, and you'll have that fixed. Again, I like to save after every pick by pressing Control S as the draft goes along, just in case I make a mistake like that, and then I do a Control W selection and can no longer go back. Shoot any questions you might have on that to ffdraftprep@gmail.com, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Thanks.